Good evening, everybody. We'll give just a few minutes for everybody to get online here. I can't find my earbuds tonight, so can everybody hear okay? Awesome. Mr. Tiffany, how's it going, bud? Did you get your brake line fixed? Where is my drink? Sled is 100%. Just cold, right? Hopefully it was just froze. I think that's all it was. That happened to my four-wheeler too. John, Bob, how's it going, guys? Thanks for tuning in again. Anytime. Next time, just bring it over to the shop and put it inside and let it warm up. It was nice having the shop today. Getting that shanty done in here was awesome. All right, well, we'll get started. People are coming and going like they always do. So I appreciate everybody tuning in again tonight. How's everybody liking this cold weather? I know I'm loving it. It's chilly, but you know, the thing of it is this is winter in Wisconsin. I don't know what more you can ask for. People complaining about how cold it is, and granted, the wind chills and that maybe bite a little bit, but I haven't worn a jacket now. Oh boy, last 3-4 days, just being outside, walking around, just kind of acclimating myself, and I'm 100% fine. I just got a hoodie on and maybe put up my hood or something like that. But this is my type of weather, and I'm glad it's here. And we're making ice. And yeah, that's the only thing is, man, the wind could die down anytime. Let these lakes calm down. So I guess first thing first, we'll talk about ice conditions and what's happening. I did go around and check most of the lakes around here out in Washera County, over out on the Bago system, and we're progressing really well. Everything that we had hoped for happened as far as the ice conditions go. We had all that snow. I think we're sitting on that first storm we got about 8 to 10, and we got like 2 or 3 more inches, and then we ended up with like 14, 13, 14 on this last storm. And we're sitting, probably a good 2 feet in the yard or so. And it's starting to settle down a little bit. And, believe it or not, snow evaporates quite fast. So we'll lose a lot of that stuff. And out on the lakes, it did, we couldn't have asked for anything better, I guess. We didn't need the snow. It would have been a lot nicer to get these lakes to freeze up by themselves. But Poygan had about 2 inches, 2.5 inches on it. And with all that snow, and being the fact that that snow that we got on Monday basically just froze, and we really didn't have a good base. It was more like just frozen snow, kind of a slush ice out on Poygan when I went and checked it last week. And then we got all the snow on Friday, and it basically just sank what was out there, and that all froze. So now we've got a good 6 to 8 inches of ice pretty much everywhere. There are a few open spots over by the springs in Norwegian, and then out by the mouth of the river in the Hindenburg line. The average, the typical spots that really don't freeze very well to begin with, especially on years where the springs are active. And I figured we'd give it a couple more days here. Tomorrow we're actually going to put the shacks out on the lake and get some things ready there, drop them down by the landing at least, and then we'll be out on the snowmobile and the ATVs and stuff, checking ice conditions throughout the area. I'm going to bring the drone along tomorrow and we'll fly it and get some more aerial footage and stuff like that to show you guys. But for the most part, I think you guys could be fairly confident that there's going to be some wheelers and stuff hitting the ice this weekend on the Winnebago system. The bays have been doing really well for the last week or two here. Guys been getting out. Now I would feel very safe walking out on pretty much any bay that's around on Winnebago. You're going to have anywhere from probably 4 to 6 inches, and just never trust anybody, I guess, is the biggest thing I can tell you. Is I will tell you what I'm seeing, but that doesn't mean that I hit every square inch of every body of water. There's always going to be a bad spot someplace, and just use your best judgment. Make sure you're bringing a spud bar. Just don't take anybody's word for granted and just go out and go wherever you want, because these lakes were a mess a week ago, and frozen snow is not good hard clear ice. So that's not the best ice to start off with. And there are going to be some pockets where the snow did stick, and you're going to have insulating factor to deal with, and you're going to have some soft spots kind of scattered throughout the area. So just be careful, and hopefully here by the end of the week, with a bunch more cold, guys, it's staying at like 0, -1 pretty much all day long. We're talking 5-6 straight days of single digits or below 0. Even with that amount of snow, we're going to make enough ice to get out there and get out on the lakes and start fishing. So should be good. I'm excited finally. Sheldon, what's happening, buddy? Wes, Ray, Stefan, how's it going, guys? I'm excited. This is we've been waiting way too long to be able to get out there and get on some fish, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So that's kind of the Winnebago system in a nutshell. Out here in Waushara County, a lot of these lakes just froze over last night. Finally, we've had so much wind, and the lakes that are right by my house, Big Silver and Round, and a couple of these other smaller lakes that are deep. And looking around, it finally capped over. And I went and checked. I took the spud bar in a couple spots, and I still only pretty much one shove with the spud bar, and I was through. So I only had about 1.5 inches of ice right off the landing. And like I said, though, that just froze over last night. Now that it's capped over, we don't have to worry about wind. It's going to be well below 0 tonight and the next few nights. So we should be, pushing that 4 to 6 inches on these small lakes, hopefully by the weekend too, just enough to at least get out and walk. But I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing a lot of ATV traffic, snowmobile traffic on most of the lakes around here. Again, just please be super careful. No fish is worth dying for, guys. The warmer weather coming, what it's going to do, I'm not afraid of that yet. A couple of days of getting above, freezing in that high 30s, that stuff doesn't bother me much. There's still enough cold nights. The nights are pretty long yet, and they're going to be dropping down. We might have 1 or 2 days where it might not get above freezing, or it might not get below freezing, but I'm not too concerned. What ice we're going to make here this week should be enough to get us through 2 or 3 days of a little bit of warm, unless we get a whole bunch of rain. But all that's going to do is knock down any snow that may be left on the lakes and smooth it all back out. That might be a good thing. But I don't think we're going to have to worry about whatever little bit of warmth that we got coming up. Because right after that, I think there's only like 2 or 3 days, and then it drops back down into the 20s and single digits and stuff at night, and that'll be fine. It'll be good. And like Ray said, it's only above freezing for a few hours each day. The only thing that would concern me is if we get a really big rainstorm, but I just don't see that happening. We might get a little bit of sprinkles and stuff like that, but I think we'll be fine. Nothing to worry about there. Let's see. over on Winnebago, I know I know there's still a few open spots that are kind of steaming out over the middle. I could see them with the binoculars. But I'll wait a couple more days and really go out and test Winnebago and check that out. Again, the bays are doing well, but I think if we give it a couple more days here, I think we'll be able to get out and venture out into the main part of the lake as well. Hopefully skipping a few cracks with the snowmobile, but that'll be a week or two away before I really even think about getting out there. I'll let that lake build. That one there is a monster. Butamore, the guys, they'll be out on Sunset here over the next few days, I'm sure. Plenty of ice back there, and it's building. Well, by the end of this week, now that everything finally capped over, and it looks like it's going to be fairly calm tonight too. By the end of this week, we should be sitting pretty good. Some questions. Are they out on Grundman? There were a couple guys out on the bay, out in Cowlings, right out in front there. They didn't go out very far. And I know there were a couple guys that have houses over there that were out, and they had about 4 inches or so. I just went and took the spud bar around by the landings and just to check and see. And I could make a few hits, so I know I could walk out there. I didn't really drill any holes. I just wanted to check and see. Like I said, I'm not going to go out and really pound a lot of holes out on Winnebago until either later this week or first part of next week. My concentration right now is getting all the shacks out on the lake and getting ready for the weekend. Speaking of that, we wanted to talk a little bit about the refilling, guys with their propane tanks. And I don't know how many people have seen the Flame King system. I know Mr. Heater came out with one within the last few months, I guess. But I really wanted to kind of go through and show you the one I've been using and really like. It's never failed me. It's very easy to do. And I can't even begin to tell you how much money I've saved over the years of filling these bottles. I do something a little bit different than probably what a lot of guys do too, is rather than taking a 20 pounder, the bigger the tank you start off with, the less it costs to fill a 1 pounder. So let's just say a 20 pounder on average is probably going to cost you anywhere from 12 to 19, 20 bucks to either fill or exchange. Whereas a 30 pounder costs me, what is it? I think it's like 22 bucks, I think 23 bucks to fill up. So obviously the more you start off with, the cheaper your initial fill is, which essentially then goes into these tanks. So a little bit of background about what you're getting when you're buying a refillable. If you go out and buy the Worthingtons or the Coleman refillable tanks, you're spending what, $5, $6, $7 a tank. And truthfully, you're buying a $6 package with about 30 cents, 40 cents of material or product inside a really expensive container that you're going to throw away. And what Flame King did is they developed a system that, and I know we've all been filling, the Mr. Heater adapter or whatever that you put in a 20 pounder, flip your tank upside down, and guys would put bottles in the freezer and do all kinds of different tricks to try and fill, the disposable tanks. And essentially, if that's the route you want to go on a refillable, or I'm sorry, on a disposable tank, you have a little Schrader valve that is right here. And don't worry about, putting your tanks in the freezer or whatnot. Put it on your valve that's on your 20 pounder. Take a little hemostat or a little needle nose pliers, and as you're filling, your tank, just pull that valve out. And what you want to try and do is make sure you have it on the top. Pull that valve out, and that's going to let the air escape and let the fluid get in. That's the easiest way that I always used to fill the disposables. But since Flame came out with a kit that actually does it for you, it's kind of got a unique system to it. Number one, the tanks are built to last. They are, it's basically a miniature, 20 pounder. Whereas those disposables, it's a one-time use deal. They've got, different valves that are right here that, after you take that thing on and off a few times, most of them are going to leak. Or if you're trying to fill them, the old way, you can get a couple of fills out of them, and then typically the seals and the gaskets that are down in the guts of this are going to leak. What's nice about this system is when you buy it, the kit's going to come with this guy here that connects to your 20 pounder, and you're going to get one tank, and you're going to get the stand to put your 20 pounder in. Now, again, I use a 30-pound tank, and it fits on the stand just perfect. And what's nice is this guy will screw in to this valve right here. Okay, so picture this is on your 20-pound or 30-pound propane tank. That's just a normal standard, collar that fits on your tank. This is your valve here to open and close your fluid. But what's the key to this guy is there is a little Allen screw right on the front of the tank here. And what you do is you crack that open. So now the special design of this valve, when you pull this lever down, what happens is the gas is going to go, or the liquid's going to go in, forcing the air out of this little tiny valve or this little tiny hole, this bleeder hole that you cracked open with this Allen wrench. And as soon as it starts to spit, your gas is getting closer, or I'm sorry, the gas is all escaping, the liquid's coming up, and that valve goes down just far enough, kind of like an overflow protection, device of the OPDs that are on the 20-pound tanks. Pretty much the same system that's in here, just a little bit, different. Doesn't have a float valve. It's just got a little set screw here that you adjust. So as soon as it starts to spit, the gas is escaped, the fluid's all the way up to the top. You let this guy go down and then tighten this back up. I usually give it just a little bit more to fill the tank, get it nice and full, and you're done. Takes about 45, 50 seconds, and you're 100% full, ready to go. And I have about 30, 40 cents of gas that is in this tank that normally would cost you $5 or $6. Now, for anybody that has fished with me, Jared's, he's out with me pretty much every day, but I've got about 20 of these tanks now. And I can tell you every single day I come home, I'm filling, pretty much a dozen to 15 tanks every single day. And they have never failed me once. They're an amazing product for the guys that want to, let's say you're a plumber or you use a torch or whatnot on a daily basis. This will save you a ton of money. Get yourself a little melt crate, put a 20-pounder in the back of your plumbing truck, and get this thing set up. All you got to do is if you run out, go out to your truck, refill it, and you're back in business again. It is such a money saver and such an awesome product. And not only that, but the green factor of what these things are. I did some research a while back, and the amount of disposable containers that are used in the United States every year, I want to say would fill up like 30 Olympic-sized swimming pools. That's just garbage, waste that is never going to go anywhere. It's just collecting and harming, basically putting a bunch of junk in the earth. If I had to take a guess on how many of these things or disposables I would have went through in the last 5-6 years of running these things, we're talking into the thousands. I mean, that's a lot of waste that, again, it's a $5 package with 50 cents worth of material. And it works amazingly well. Some questions. Let's see. How much is the starter kit? So yeah, couple places, a lot of our dealers have them in stock. You're going to find them anywhere from probably $35 to $45, and then the tanks are going to run you probably about $15 for each extra tank. Can you refill those tanks when they're half, quarter full? Absolutely, Tim. You can refill these things whenever you want to. Like, I mean, for me, I take all my tanks home at the end of the day, and some of them might have a little bit left in them. It doesn't matter. I bring them back, screw them all in. Again, it takes me like 45 seconds to fill up a tank, and everything is done. Now, biggest thing is, now I got a really big shop. I should probably be doing it outside, and I don't have anything really that ignites inside the shop. So once I'm done, I'll usually open up the door and let it breathe out. If it's really cold outside. If it's nice outside, I'll open up the door and bring it outside and do it. But just make sure you're being smart about it. Don't fill it in the house next to the electric range or someplace where you're going to flip a switch and send your house up in the air. So just be careful there. But guys, if you've never seen it, this product, they were the first to market. When you look at a disposable tank and you read it and it says, fines up in front of $100,000 or whatever for transporting. These are 100% safe. They're approved to be transported, approved to be filled. It was designed to be filled, and that solves a lot of problems for you. Light a cigarette next to it. When I always check for propane leaks, I just take a lighter and see if there's any flame. If you get any flame that comes out, it's not going to explode on you. But you can always just, check real quick to see, because you'll get a little bit of a flame, but it's not going to explode. As long as the valve, is just giving a little bit of a leak, the flame, take a lighter or a torch and you'll see if it's leaking or not. Let's see. Do you have to have their fill kit, or if I have a filler, can you use? Yeah. So John, that's what makes this system unique, in the fact that this kit right here matches up. There is the way the system works here is this little filler valve right here attaches to the tank, and there's like a little insert. You can kind of see it, that little circle that's inside the nozzle or inside the fill valve there. That actually goes down, and that lets the fluid go in and the air escape. And that's the biggest trick to filling the 1-pounders, is you have to get the fluid in. And once a bottle reaches a certain pressure, you can't put any more in. The pressure matches what's up above, and you can't get any more in. So you have to let either liquid out or you have to let air out. And that's what you're doing, is by cracking this little set screw on the side of the tank, you let the gas escape. So the gas is going to come out, the fluid's going to keep coming up, pushing that air out, and then you just crack it over to lock it in place, and you're good to go when it's full. You can tell you have too much gas in your tent with a lighter. Yeah, I've had a few Mr. Heater Buddy, the Big Buddy heaters, tell me that I had too much gas in my tents. I did see a video here, I believe it was this week, of a guy lighting a heater, and his whole side of his tent went whoop. And I can't say that. Maybe I've had that happen once or twice too. So it's probably happened to quite a few of us actually over the years. If you're out there enough and you play around with heaters in extreme cold, when it gets this cold, it's super hard to keep that gas warm, and it doesn't atomize or vaporize like it should to be able to burn. So when you get some leaks or you get some misfires, and it can be fun. See, my old filler I used for the disposal works with the Flame Kings I got from Amazon a few years ago. Yeah. So the that side of it, if you're reverse doing it, that'll work just fine. But this will not work for a disposable. You can't take an old, Worthington or Coleman tank, put this on there, and fill it like you would be able to with this. Again, you'd have to pull that Schrader valve open in order to get the gas to come out and let the liquid come in. So just do yourself a favor, buy the kit, and just be safe about it. No sense blowing anybody up over, a couple dollars of propane. So they've got, and the nice thing about Flame King too is not only do they have, the 1-pounders like this, but they've got plenty of different sizes, especially for like the plumbing guys, if you want those thin canisters. And they've got some really, small bottles, like almost the size of little pop bottles, and all kinds of different sizes of these refillable tanks that are out there. So depending on what you're using it for, if you're camping and you need a little jet stove or something like that, you can get some really small bottles to carry around. And they've got, different grills, and they've got a whole bunch of different accessories, all kinds of LP stuff. And I know they've got a bunch of new stuff coming out for next year too, and excited to see what they got going on there. So that's kind of my deal about the, the refilling is you're going to save a ton of money. You're going to save a lot of waste. And it's nice to have, you get done fishing, and let's say you're up at your cabin, you don't want to run back to town, you ran out of gas, take the 20-pounder off the grill that's on the deck that you're not using and fill up a bunch of tanks. There's nothing more efficient than being able to just fill a bunch of 1-pounders, right inside your garage, right in the backyard. It goes pretty quick. Hey, Dan, anytime, man. The grill's always with me. That is for certain. John's got a filler for sale, not a Flame King. Yeah, I'm just going through and reading through, making sure I didn't miss any comments here. Aaron Matthews said the need to get the new Mr. Heater system. I've looked at that, and they've got like rather than having the Allen screw, they've got like a little pull, like a spring loaded pin that you pull out for letting the air out. I can see that failing. Anybody that's ever used propane knows that you get frost buildup. When you're filling these things and you're letting, all that vapor come out, it freezes everything, right? I much prefer an Allen wrench that I can tighten knowing for a fact that it's tight than trusting a spring-loaded pin. I've got a lot of spring-loaded pins on my gear, whether it be on my snowmobile, for my snowmobile rack, or for my ice auger racks, on my tractor. And I can tell you every one of those pins have failed at least once. And I'd much rather, not have to worry about that, and just deal with, a little Allen wrench and put it in there, screw it till it's tight. I mean, that's nothing much easier than that. Yeah. So, Tim just said 48 million tanks at the landfills each year. 48 million disposable tanks. Just think about that. That's a lot of 1-pound, propane bottles. And what's crazy, 1088 fill a completely empty 20-pound tank at Dale Propane. I usually either go there or go up to Opaka, to the distributor, or the DH Liquidators or something like that. They're pretty cheap up there as well. And then I'll bring all my 30-pounders up there, my 20-pounders, get them all full, and I'm pretty much set. I'll do that a few times every winter for the big shacks and whatnot. But definitely worth the investment. Let's see, any other questions? No other questions. So, if I know not too many people are running gas augers anymore, or propane augers, but these bottles, they fit in everything. You can get them inside the heaters, you can get them inside all your augers, lanterns. I haven't found anything yet that it doesn't fit in that a normal disposable tank would fit in. So just something to take a look at. And like I say, pretty much all of our dealers around the Midwest here, any bait shop, we've got most of the stuff in their stores. And if they don't, they can get it. Our distributors have, plenty of stock available. We find a lot of times the guys will buy the kit with 2 extra bottles. For the average guy, if you're running 3 bottles a day, that's pretty good. Even on a really cold day, depending on what size heater you have. You're probably not going to go through any more than 3 bottles. I run, if we're running 4 or 5 shacks, I'll have 15 to 20 bottles with me. And even on a cold day, fishing all day long, we're still probably only going through, 12 to 15 bottles, for everybody's shack. So that would be good. Let's see. So, what drill would you recommend that wouldn't break the bank? Dan, what are you looking for? An ice auger? Or are you looking for like an adaptable, like a Milwaukee or something that you would attach a drill to? Right now, for stakes, I guess bring me up to speed a little bit more, Dan. What are you looking to do? Stakes for putting in for sturgeon spearing, or what are you looking at doing? I'm going to second, Jared and Bob as far as, what auger. The E40 that came out this year is incredible. Super lightweight, really fast, and it's going to do everything anybody pretty much needs it to do. If you want to jump up, then I'm running the Ion Alphas, 8-inch, and that one there is pretty hard to beat. I get a lot more holes per charge than I will with the E40. And, for guiding, we need a little bit more holes, but for the average guy, the E40 will do just fine. Oh, for your Eskimo pop-up. So here's the deal, Dan. If you get the E40, they have a kit that has a quick disconnect on the drill. So you got your power head, you got your quick disconnect, and then you're going to get the auger bit, and then you'll also have the tool that will put the stakes in. So you can drill your holes through the ice, get done. It's almost like a quick disconnect that you'd use for a hole saw. Pop off your auger bit, put on the tool, put your cleats into your grommets, and zoop, 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 and you're done. You got one tool. You don't have to carry around an auger and a drill. That whole kit is, well worth the money. If you fish out of a hub, those stakes are awesome to use. The mud mixer. Yep. Question from Dr. Outdoors. I have a fishing question. Have you ever tried those hot boxes like people use on Gogebic? I've used the hot boxes. It's, again, I'm more of a running gunner guy. If I'm going to be setting up tip ups, I'm going to be setting up the bite me's with the charcoal. The hot boxes work awesome. They have that propane, that little heater that kind of keeps the hole open. And that's a great way to fish if you want to, fish with your rod. But my favorite is still, running the boxes, or we're just jigging. I mean, we don't take a whole lot of time to set up a bunch of different things. The boxes are about as much as what I do. And for the most part, once we get into an area, my lines and everything are pretty well set for the area that I'm fishing. And it doesn't take me a whole lot of time to, readjust things, an inch or two here and there. But, yeah, I mean, the hot boxes, I know a lot of guys use them. It's just not my cup of tea. Let's see. For anybody else that's been out, I mean, please share your conditions with everybody. I know guys are going to be itching. I know there's going to be a lot of people getting hit in the ice, later this week once this cold spell lifts. Guys are going to get out and be nice to see where everybody's at and what kind of conditions you guys have. We've got a lot of snow. One guy asked if we could kind of just do a recap. A lot of snow we got around here, the Fox Valley area. Watoma, we got, like I say, probably close to 2 feet here all of last week. And it's starting to settle, starting to evaporate a little bit, but it's so cold that's, it'll take a little bit of warmth here to start really knocking a lot of that snow down. But a lot of these lakes out here didn't freeze until just like yesterday, and they're starting to get build some ice. And then the Winnebago system, all that snow we got basically sank the little bit of ice we had, and that was pretty much just frozen slush or frozen snow and absorbed, and we got a good 6 to 8 inches of frozen snow basically. But now that we've had that, and there's really not a lot of snow on top of the ice at all, it basically all got saturated and froze. And the cold nights here now, we're just building. We're getting all that good ice underneath all that crap ice, and we should have a pretty good start here by the weekend. Do disposable hand warmers work with the Bite Me box? No, Steve, they don't. I've tried a few different things. I've tried taking Ziploc bags and putting, the hand warmers in Ziploc bags. The problem with the hand warmers is they need to breathe. They need air to work. So if you're, closing off air sources, they just get cold and just doesn't go to work, or doesn't work anymore. So, the best thing to use is the charcoal. I actually just bought some of the Kingsford's got some new charcoal that they came out with this year. And a lot of my smoking guys that do a lot of grilling and smoking and stuff down south have been playing around with it. And they're getting a really long burn time out of this stuff. It's called Low and Slow from Kingsford. So it's a lower heat and a longer burn. And I think for ice fishing, I think it's going to be awesome. Because I know on some of the windy days, obviously, they're not fully sealed, and the boxes, we'll go through some charcoal pretty quick on the real windy days. And I think this Low and Slow stuff is going to be really nice for that. So I'm excited to try it. I'll report back. I sent Rick a note too, to ask him if they had tried it yet, and they had not. So they've been using the professional grade, and they said that stuff there lights a little bit better and burns a little bit nicer. The original stuff just started to kind of flake out on us. I don't know. We don't know if they changed it during COVID, changed the ingredients, or what they did, but definitely was not burning. I had to get it a lot. I had to let it ignite and actually get a little bit more burn on it before I could put them in the cans to keep them going than what we used to have to. So I'll report back, in the meantime, just that professional gig Kingsford or regular Kingsford charcoal, just make sure you got everything lit pretty good before you start putting them inside the cans. Let's see. We got some reports coming in. We're up near Crivets this weekend for Veteran University, 6 to 8 inches, but one side is still nearly all open as of yesterday. It's pretty weird. It's crazy. It's been so cold, and with all this snow, you'd think that, it would lock up, but I'm going to tell you, the geese, the birds, the wind, you'd be surprised in what those, what that can do to keep everything open, especially when it's been so windy. The first time it calms down though, and we get a little bit of flat water, she's going to freeze. Yeah. I was talking to somebody today, everybody's probably had this happen to them once or twice. You got a bottle of soda that you just bought. It's been in the truck, or, on the snowmobile, or in your ATV or something for, a day. And, you look at it, it's like, oh yeah, it's not froze. And as soon as you crack it open, boom, it instantly turns to ice. And we see that every year out on Big Green Lake. The lake is so deep that water is so flipping cold. It takes, however long for that cold to come up from the bottom all the way up to the top. And all of a sudden, one night she'll lock up, and it's just like that frozen bottle of soda, right? You go from nothing to like 3 inches instantly. And that's kind of what, I think is going to happen to a lot of these lakes, is the water is so cold that we just need it to calm down. We need, just one night of no wind, and things are going to lock up really nice. And that happened like on Big Silver and a couple of the small lakes out here by Watoma. It happened here last night, and driving around today and seeing, some more of the lakes. Most of them are pretty much all locked up now. A couple of the lakes that have a lot of springs on them, even on really cold years all year long, they're still going to have a spot or two that's open, but for the most part, we're sitting pretty good. Our little lake, Northern Kettle Moraine, had a skim of ice, then some snow that sank into slush, then big snow, camouflage. Worried about when it warms up, it will not be safe at all. Other area lakes we're open for the cold. They will be fine. Ours will not. Other lakes, the same. So, John, I think that's kind of, what you're going to have is, that frozen snow is not good ice, right? I mean, it's just frozen slush. It gives us some stability, and it gives us, I guess, a little bit of a platform to get out and do some walking and venturing out on. Is it going to be solid once we start driving vehicles? Boy, I'm going to be definitely afraid to drive anything on any of these lakes this year. I think it's going to be a lot of ATV, snowmobile traffic for the most part, unless we get another really big cold spell. But you're not going to catch me driving, especially this year when I got big diesel now, and going to really have to watch what I drive the trucks on. So yeah, we just need some cold. Let it keep coming. Yeah, a bunch of guys on the Fox. Yeah, I did hear that today. I heard a couple of guys I talked to had 4 to 6 inches out on the Fox River. So, kind of same thing everywhere. You're going to have that 4 to 6, 4 to 8 inches pretty much everywhere we go, probably by the end of the week here. When it warms up and guys go all over, I'm afraid of the danger out there. Yeah, it's going to be we're going to see some people go in for sure this year. They're going to test the ice, and I think people forget that you can't go off of, it's middle of January, the ice is good, we can drive our trucks out. No, we're sitting probably where we would normally be maybe the middle of December right now. So we're not quite there to start driving vehicles anywhere. Casey Davis, what are your rates for trips? You always ask everyone else, but I have yet to hear you talk about you. Oh, Casey, I got my website with all the rates and stuff on there. I don't like to talk, so much about that kind of stuff in an open forum, but real easy. If you got 4 more guys, it's $150 per guy, and that includes everything. We provide lunch. We'll cook a meal out on the ice for you. You got heated shacks. You've got the best gear money can buy. That's the one thing, maybe I'll pride myself on a little bit, is the fact that when people come out and fish with us, they're getting to experience, the best of everything. I'm not putting $10 rods in your hands. I'm not giving you, FL8s, or, we're not, a lot of guides buy cheap gear for guiding because stuff breaks, right? I mean, that's just part of the deal. And I've always ran my business, whether it be ice fishing or open water, as people pay for an experience, and we want to give you the best experience you possibly can. And by doing that, you're going to fish with the best gear that is available to any ice angler. We're going to put 2B and Elliott rods in your hands, $200, $250 combos, in your hands. We're going to let you fish with forward facing sonar and 360 and underwater cameras, and pretty much all the flashers. We're running all M5s on lithium shuttles. So I mean, you guys are people that come out and fish. They can contest. A lot of people come just for the lunch, and there's a lot of truth to that. We do really good with our food. I love to cook. I've been smoking up a whole bunch of pork, and we do a lot of pulled pork sandwiches for guys all winter long, and we'll do some pork chops, some barbecued chicken, obviously hamburgers, brats. Sometimes that's just as good too. Anytime you got a really cold day and you start up the grill and get some good hot food in your belly, I think you could cook a turd on some days and it would probably taste good. Timmy, I appreciate that, man. We bust our butt. That is. There's no denying the fact that when we're out there, if we're not on fish, we are busting our ass to get you guys on fish. I'm going to tell you right now, and many guides will just take you out for the money. I'm not that one. And a lot of people respect me for my honesty, And if I know a bite is really bad, and I can tell you that the weather, we've got a major cold front or something's coming in, and we've got a trip scheduled for, let's just say tomorrow or whatever, I'm going to call you and I'm going to be very honest with you. I'm going to tell you flat out, it's probably not going to be a good day. If you still want to go, I respect that. But here's the deal. I like to have fun on the ice too. And I know when people come out and fish with me, they want to have fun. And we can have fun, no matter what. But catching fish is always a bonus. And, I hope people understand that. It's not always about catching, even though we try and make it all about, getting on some good fish. And there's just some days that I don't care what you do, they're just not going to eat. I mean, it's happened to me, countless times. We try and we throw everything we possibly can at them, move around, and we will always put people on the best schools of fish we can get. There's just some days that, if you don't have that right touch, and, I've been doing this my whole life, to get a new guy that's come out, maybe for the first time. And if there's days that, Jared and I are struggling to even get a bite, the new guys are probably going to struggle a lot more. And we'll sit down, and if we figure something out, I'm going to sit down right next to you. And there's days I'll even hold your hand just to make sure you understand how the jigging cadence is working, or, whatever we're doing. I'm going to make sure and do my darndest that, we can replicate it, or you can replicate it to catch some fish too. But there are days that they just don't bite. I mean, anybody that fishes enough and has fished, their entire life will tell you the same thing. We're just guides. We're not God. We can't make fish eat. And, it's just one of those deals. But I will always guarantee people I will put them on fish. That much I can do. I can't guarantee that they'll bite. So I appreciate the kind words, Timmy. You always got free hamburger or sandwich or whatever. If you see us out on the ice, make sure you come by, say hi. It'll be good. Lots of busted up, jagged ice, and it's still steaming out a ways. Yeah, I took my binoculars and I could see some warm pockets or some steam pockets. What's crazy though is, when you look at the satellite imagery from NOAA, is that everything looks like it's completely froze, right? But I think you're not able to see those spots because that steam kind of looks like snow over the tops, and it just kind of all blends together. So again, do not trust anybody, other than yourself. Don't trust pictures. The stuff that I post is for reference only. Don't go off of anything without going out and checking it yourself. I would never, even if my best friend told me, yep, the ice is good, I'm still going to go out there and check myself. The safety aspect of going out on unknown conditions and unknown ice right now is not worth putting a machine in or doing anything. Just make sure you know what you're doing, and go out with some friends, or use the buddy system, and just be safe. And that's one thing, too, with Poigan is, the whole Winnebago system for that matter. It is a river system. You never know, where that current is going to be, and where, springs open up every year. We've got a lot of lakes even over here in Washera County that we've got a ton of springs on. Some years they don't flow. You get plenty of ice, you can go anywhere. Other years there's open spots all over, and it almost seems like the coldest of the years are the years that you see the springs opened up. So you never know, and you can never trust it. As they always say, ice is never 100% safe, especially in a mixed drink. Let's see. Joe Cool, Nita Bay looks great. Feel free to join me on Friday. The snow never stuck to the ice, so it's smooth, and I'm betting it'll be over 6 inches. So, Joe, I think what we were talking about earlier is I don't think anything stuck to the ice. I think it did. I think a lot of the snow sat on top of the ice and sank what we had, because what we had was just that, frozen snow from Monday, and it never really got cold enough to freeze until after that big storm. So, all that was just some basically frozen slush. And once we got all that weight from that snow on Friday and Saturday, it just sank it all down. All that snow saturated with water and then finally froze come Saturday into Sunday once it got cold. So yeah, picks. Jared went swimming once or twice. I know I've gone down. If I'm in any uncertain area, I don't, I'll have my picks, but I always have a couple of small screwdrivers in my pocket, and that way there, you can take and just shove them into the ice to pull yourself up. If you don't have picks, I know everybody's got a couple of screwdrivers you can put in your pockets and use them. Just you need something to be able to help pull yourself up on top if you ever go down. And then the biggest thing is don't try and stand up, belly crawl, roll, keep your weight dispersed before you get onto some safe enough ice where you can stand up and walk, and then get your clothes off right away. Strip down to the very basics if you can, and go find someplace warm. Yep, Dan says stay calm. That's probably what kills more people, is that when you go down and you fall in, and trust me, I've gone down more times than I want to count. And when you fall in, your first reaction is right, and you just sucked in a whole bunch of cold water, put your body in shock, and you're done. Period. That's your biggest mistake. Is if you go down, just realize the fact that okay, I'm going down, and just hold your breath. Count to 10. And then figure out what to do. Because if you got a flotation suit on, which most everybody now probably has, if not, you should. If you're going down, at least you're going to stay somewhat buoyant, and then try and pull yourself back up. Or like I say, if you got a buddy, keep a rope with you. Anything to help get yourself out of that water and up on top of the ice, and you should be good. So that's the best word of advice I can give you. Domingo says, hard to keep the ladies off when I start peeling clothes off. Well, Domingo, give us a call. We'll come help. Oh, Bob. Oh, Bob, I'm just gonna erase. It's like that Flash thing on Independence Day, right, or whatever that movie is. I'm just going to erase my mind from that. So I guess that's really it. We're going to get. We got Jared was out today, and appreciate his help. We got one shack completely done. We'll get that thing out on the water tomorrow. We're going to get the other one done, and we'll have all three of the big shacks out, and we just got to do a little bit of work on the little camp shack, one we're going to use for like a bathroom and cooking and stuff like that. And we'll be ready to go for having everything ready for the weekend. I'm excited. There's plenty of fish out there to be caught. I really want to get away from the bays and all the people and start finding, fish away from everybody. And, I'm not one to go fish next to groups of guys. I know everybody's itching at the bit right now, and they're getting out wherever they possibly can. And right now, all those spots are pretty much full of people. So, I'm hoping, now that we got some ice, we can start to venture off and start to break away from the bays and get out over to some open water and find some of those walleyes, white bass, and some perch and stuff for the guys. So I'm excited. Looking forward to, a short season. Hopefully, we get a little bit of ice, maybe into end of March or something would be really nice, but we'll take whatever we can get this year at this point. I tried getting a hold of Critter tonight. He didn't ask or reply back, but January 27th, they've got Party on Poigan. This is the 15th year that will be happening out of Critters in Winneconne. I can't believe, we started that 15 years ago. And then you got to look at Battle on Bago was like 3 years before that too. So it's good to see that both of those are, turned into what they are. I really like the Party on Poigan, small, low key, and just a lot of fun. And then they got the band and everything at Critters at Wood Eyes there in the archery range Saturday night. So take a look at Party and get your tickets. That's still going to be happening. So thoughts on how the ice may be for Party on Poigan? Tim, I think, it wouldn't surprise me. We're going to get all this week yet of cold, and then it gets a little warm, and it cools off the latter part of next week again. I'm just going to say it right now. It's not going to surprise me if we see some guys out there driving vehicles, honestly. It's going to happen. It wouldn't surprise me if you even see a couple guys go and test it out this weekend. But teach their own, right? I think there'll be at least 10 inches minimum probably. But again, it's not going to be that good hard clear ice. We've got that 6 to 8 out there already. With all that frozen snow. It's not hard ice by any means. And there are some weak spots out there again, like we were talking about that, the snow sat on and didn't sink. And, it'll take a little bit to get those froze. I'm walking all year. You can't beat that. I mean, if you got the energy and, there's nothing better than walking with a spud bar, pretty much all you want to. Still 3 in a lot of spots out there from Travis. Yeah, I mean, that 3 will be 6 inches by the weekend, I'm pretty certain. But, those are the spots that are insulated or that just froze here a couple days ago. There were, like I say, there were a lot of spots that had some, thicker ice that survived all that warmth. And we're just kind of floating around out there. And, that froze again. Then you get a little bit of snow, then that froze. And you get that false, sense that there's 4 inches. Well, really, it's just frozen slush. It's not really ice. And then you got all that, heavy stuff, and it sank it and basically started over. So it is what it is. I mean, we can't change it. All we can do is just use our brains and pay attention. I mean, just don't be stupid. Don't go off and venture off by yourself unless you know what you're doing. And just, like I say, keep a spud bar with you, check. And it's not going to be very easy to see the bad ice this year, guys, because everything's white. There's no black, clear ice to really be seen anywhere. And when you do find that those are going to be the spots that just froze. It's going to be fresh. So you'll definitely be able to see that, but you're not going to see the junk ice that is just frozen snow that's underneath the snow pile, because it's all white. I mean, there's no, like last year when, Poigan froze, it was kind of freaky driving around because it was all a giant sheet of black, clear ice. And you couldn't tell how thick it was unless you spudded it or drilled a hole. And then you'd find some areas, some patches that, were blown ice or, chunks or shoved ice on top of each other that you could see was fairly thick. But this year, you're not going to be able to see that. Everything's going to be kind of hidden and be a little bit tricky to see what ice is what this year. Let's see. So Tim, out from Spruce there, you've got the spring that dumps in right next to the landing, and then along that shoreline, along that contour line, there's a contour line that kind of runs along that south shore. Out from Spruce, there are a whole bunch of springs, believe it or not. And I know in years past, there's been quite a few guys. I think it was just a couple years ago when those kids went in during, I think they were coming back at night, and they drove their four-wheeler into one of the springs. And again, I think all those springs on that lake are working this year. And, I don't know if it's going to stay cold enough to freeze them, or, if that water is just going to keep bubbling. And I think maybe the fact that the water is, pretty low this year too, might be affecting that. So again, we're going to be out checking everything a lot more in detail, and I'll definitely report by the end of the week what we're finding. and I'll post the drone shots and kind of mark a map on where everything is and try and post it for you guys on at least on Poigan. I don't know if I'll make it out to Bago anymore this week. We got a lot of work to get done here before the weekend, so I'll do my best to keep you guys posted. But if you're going out to Winnebago, stick to the bays. I know probably more guys are going to be heading out off the East Shore or down south by Fond du Lac. And, you can definitely walk out. And, they're walking quite a ways down by off of Wentz and Black Wolf. Guys are getting out towards some of the rock piles and stuff and catching some perch. And I know a few of the guys, I think, got some burbot, I think, this week even or so. Will cloudy ice affect the bite more than clear ice? Hey, Domingo, no problem, bud. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it too. So absolutely, cloudy ice, snow on top of the ice. That's what you're looking for. You want to have something block, any type of movement. Once we get out on the ice and we can start shooting some video, I've been talking about this all year. I'm going to shoot some video to show you guys exactly what it looks like, when you're a fish and you've got an ice cap above you. We're going to show you some stuff that will probably change your whole outlook on what you're doing and how you're fishing, because especially in shallow water, the movements and the shadows that you create on the ice freak fish out like crazy. I mean, there's reasons why these fish aren't coming up underneath your holes, because they're seeing your movement, they're seeing your shacks, they're hearing your cleats, they see your bucket, they see your locator sitting on the ice. There's so much to it that you just overlook that affects, why, there's been a few days out where, if I get in some of these shallow bays, my cleats come off, I drill my holes, and I've got no electronics. I've got 5-foot rods, and we're basically hole hopping around in these shallow bays, and we'll outfish the guys that are sitting inside of portables, have, a locator on the ice. They're walking around with cleats. They've got buckets laying everywhere. And they're trying to fish, a few different holes. And these fish won't come near any of that stuff because of the shadows. When you take a flashlight, and hold your hand up and watch what happens on the wall, away from your hand, and you see that shadow, right? So you've got this shadow. Now picture that, you've got your hand is this big in front of you, but on that wall, it's this big. So you've got the sunlight coming down, hitting you, hitting your bucket, your shack, all your, anything that's on the ice. And that shadow then protrudes through the ice, and you can see all that. Looking from the bottom up, it looks like you've got a 10-foot person that's standing on the ice, walking around with feet this big because of those shadows. And when it's really bright outside, or if you don't have any snow cover or don't have a whole lot of cover to get rid of some of that, it all goes right through, and those fish can see that stuff plain as day. Been banging perch and gills, chunk of crawler, been pounding both. Don't forget, bring some crawlers. They can save your day. That's funny. Kevin, you stole a secret. There's a lot of guys that crawlers are phenomenal winter bait. We've been doing it for quite a few years, more so probably late ice when we get into some of the perch fishing, jigging. And then on the flip side, I order, all my spikes. We'll order 10,000 spikes at a time, and whatever I have left, I just keep in the fridge. As long as you keep spikes at like 32 degrees, they go into a hibernation state, and I'll keep spikes 365 days, a whole year, inside my fridge, no problem. So come July, August, when we're out perch fishing, I've got all these red spikes left, number 20 treble hook, 3 or 4 red spikes, drop that thing down on the bottom on Winnebago and let it sit there. You don't miss anymore. You're going to pretty much catch every fish that tries to grab those spikes. So Bait management's another great topic, and we can talk about that on one of the next episodes too. Still waiting to hear back. I sent a note out to a bunch of my the game warden friends that I've worked with over the years, and nobody's gotten back to me yet. I know they're all pretty busy. A couple of them I got auto replies that they were away from emails, so still trying to get a DNR guy on to do a little Q&A with everybody, and I'll keep you posted on that. But in the meantime, I got to get some stuff moved around tonight yet. Get some shacks ready to go drop off tomorrow, and get one more fixed up, and that will be done. Rods, everything else is, all the markums are charged, rods are rigged, and it's go time. So if anybody's looking to get out, feel free, send me a message. All the information's on my website, and we'll do whatever we can to make your day pretty memorable, and we'll have a lot of fun and catch some fish hopefully in the meantime. If not, you're not going to go home hungry. Any word on DNR trying to make sturgeon endangered? So it's not the DNR, Bob, that's trying to make it endangered. It's the feds. They want to put the lake sturgeon on the endangered species list, and I don't know what's going to happen with that whole thing. It'll be a huge detriment to Wisconsin. When you take a look at what happens around the Winnebago system, I mean, it's a huge economical deal for the whole, greater Fox Valley, Winnebago system area. If they get rid of that, that would be such a dent for all these businesses. And it affects so many different people. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. I think the votes in like June or something like that of this year. I really haven't been keeping much on that. Let's see. Tom asked, anything on raising launch fees? Tom, I haven't seen the results of anything yet. That's one that bothers me too. Winnebago County and City of Oshkosh. That whole boat launch thing is a completely different day and a whole lot of anger for that whole deal. My stance on it is, the fishermen are spending all this money, and the boaters and stuff are spending all this money to park, and on the weekends they got soccer tournaments and everything else. You can't get a spot at Menominee, and those guys don't have to pay anything. They're not really improving the launches. You would think that they would put Coots said they tabled it until fall. Okay, that's probably a good thing, because I think there'd be a lot of pissed off people. Where's the fish cleaning stations? It's when you go and redo like Grunman, that new launch that they did on the north side of Oshkosh. There's no reason that they couldn't have put a fish cleaning station in there, or a wash down station for cleaning off your boats. You go down to Fond du Lac, over on the east shore by Pipe, up and by Menasha on Little Lake Butamore, you've got wash downs for your boats. You've got fish cleaning stations, and nothing's getting vandalized. I don't agree with their reasoning saying, oh, they don't want to do it because they don't want to have to pay for the vandalizing and stuff like that. And I don't know. I mean, people that live down in Fond du Lac use that fish cleaning station all the time, and I've never heard one complaint about anything happening to it whatsoever. In today's technology, pretty certain you can put some cameras up and monitor that and catch the guys if somebody does, vandalize something. But I don't know. The excuses and the lack of, taking care of the fishermen, the people that spend the most money on these launches in these parking areas is ridiculous. There's gonna be no reason why they can't help us fishermen out. But I'm not going to get involved. I said my piece there, and that's pretty much all you get out of me. One thing I've learned is I don't get into politics when on the business stuff on my business page. I've got my own thoughts and whatnot, but it's is what it is. And they said no one keep it clean. Yeah, it's funny because you go over to the whole Green Bay, Oconto, all the the salmon places, all the ports up and down Lake Michigan, and they have zero issues. The only problems that you have is with machinery breaking or whatnot. But as far as people, the fishermen that use them, for the most part, are taking care of this stuff. And I get it. I mean, there are a few bad eggs out there that would probably leave it messy or whatnot. But I like to think that the guys that are there on a pretty regular basis would help patrol that and monitor that and police that ourselves, to kind of deter any of the riprap that would be happening. But I don't know. It'd be really nice to see them put that in. Yeah, I mean, in a lot of, you go out to the Dakotas and you go out to different lakes in Minnesota, and um, there's plenty of places that have fish cleaning stations that are, I've never seen vandalized or really messy. I mean, yeah, there's always going to be that one guy. And if anybody's on here from Chicago, my apologies, but it's typically that guy from Chicago that comes up, cleans his fish, and doesn't clean up behind him and just leaves. You know what? That's fine. Like I said, the next guy's going to come over and he'll probably clean up after him. I mean, that's just most of the guys that I know. Plenty of times in the boat landings, or we're out on the lake. If we see garbage around or we see this, that, we pick it up and we try and take care of our lakes the best we can. And just be nice if everybody could do that. Let's see what's happening, Michael. Good to see you on here. I don't see any other questions or comments or anything. So, well, again, guys, I appreciate you tuning in. Stay tuned. Later this week, we'll give you updated reports pretty much every day this week. I will try and keep people updated on what I find, what I see. There'll be some pictures, some video, I'm sure. And like I said, I'll send the drone up tomorrow, and we'll get some drone footage and kind of put a map together on where we know the bad ice is, and keep you guys updated. That's it. I am going to get some stuff moved around. I got to go play around in the cold and the snow here for a little bit tonight. So appreciate everybody, and we'll catch you guys on the water. We'll catch you guys next week. And anybody that's getting out, stay safe. And please share some pictures, some stories, some reports on the page. And we'll catch you guys next week. Cheers, everybody.